Okay, we're back. Live at noon. I was just having a chat here with Peter Shurman. He is an economic development trade critic for the Tories in Queen's Park, and I'm glad you're here. And, we have lots to talk about, as we just got evidence. Indeed. Tell us what you think should be in the budget this afternoon, Peter.
Well, it's not a question of what should be in the budget. It's what shouldn't be in the budget, which is a heck of a lot of debt. I mean, we've got Dalton McGuinty and Dwight Duncan, who must be the only two people in the world who would bring in a deficit of $17 billion, $2 billion lower than originally forecast, and celebrate that fact. These guys are on track to double the debt of Ontario in the 8 years of their power over what they inherited. In other words, another $100 billion plus of debt. Do
you think they're going to do that? Do you think the debt's going to be still a whopping one?
I guarantee you they're going to do that. And we and our children are going to have to pay for that.
If you were Minister of Finance, would you raise taxes to get the debt down, or would you have to make some cuts? How would you deal with that, Peter?
I think what we're saying is we have to preserve essential elements of any budget, and in Ontario, those are two things: health and education. And we have, in the Progressive Conservative Party of Tim Hudak, that we hope will take power as of October 6th, no plans whatsoever to make any cuts in that area. What we will do is take a look at what the McGuinty government's been busy doing over the last 8 years, which is inflating and bloating agencies, boards, and commissions of the province of Ontario to the point where if you were to take any three letters of the alphabet, chances are you would have an acronym for something here in Ontario. We're going to review every single one of those, and that's a good start.
It sounds like similar to what Ford was saying when he was running for mayor of the city of Toronto. He said, no specific cuts. There's some vehicle registration and stuff, but he said, there's a lot of fat at City Hall in just the way it operates. He says, I know where there's money and it's being misspent. Do you know where there's money being misspent on agencies and boards and such stuff at Queen's Park?
I could start by telling you that you know where money has been misspent. I could say e-health, okay? And e-health would immediately trigger $1 billion lost dollars. Yeah. There are many, many situations like that, and we discovered that one only because of Freedom of Information requests. Once we get our hands on the books, we'll find plenty, I can guarantee it.
What about with energy and electricity, and the bills are going up for electricity? Ontario has just a wealth of water. It could be hydro electricity, and we have all kinds of other stuff. Why is Ontario spending all this money, billions and billions of dollars, for things like wind and biogenetics and stuff like that?
Well, that's a question that you would have to ask them. If you talk to a liberal will tell you, a McGuinty liberal will tell you that if you don't believe in their Green Energy Act, you are necessarily a Neanderthal who's against green energy. That is patently untrue. I believe in renewables, and so does the party of Tim Hudak. However, it doesn't take the Green Energy Act of Dalton McGuinty to make that come to fruition. In fact, your energy bills, if you're watching us today, I don't have to tell you what they look like. You're scared to open them every month.
They're horrible.
And the reason for that is they've added not only an HST, a green energy tax, smart meters, which are really dumb meters. They're basically taxing, and a rose by any other name is still a rose, and this one is a pretty smelly rose. The fact of the matter is you could have green energy, you could have renewables without paying 80 cents per kilowatt hour to get solar.
Do you think this is going to be an election budget? The election's on October the 6th. There's not another budget between now and then. Are there going to be giveaways on this thing, or is it going to be sort of say the course? What do you say?
They're arguing that this is, they call it turning the corner. They're arguing that this is the beginning of the end of the recession times in the province of Ontario. I would argue that before any recession ever materialized in Ontario, they had lost 300,000 great paying jobs. They're never coming back. And under the Dalton McGuinty tax and spend regime, we're never coming back until we get rid of them, and that's October 6th.
Between now and October 6th, Peter Shurman, we're going to be seeing a lot of you, and I look forward to that, having you on the show.
And I look forward to being here.
Thanks very, very much. It is 12:27, it's 4 degrees, and this is Toronto's breaking news. CP24. More details are